Good evening, Internet! You are watching the Non-Pro TV Party Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. recap show. I am your host, Frank, joined not at all in studio by James and Matt. How you doing, guys?
How's it going?
No one can see these boxes when we're not talking, right? Like,
which boxes?
Okay. Like the lower thirds?
They're like, no, us. Like, us boxes? No? All right.
I think so. I think it depends. YouTube is an enigma.
Oh boy, don't rewind then. Don't.
It changes a lot. I think they can see you little icons on the bottom, possibly over here, maybe? I don't know. You tell us in a comment or some stuff. On Non-Pro's TV Party, we discuss what it's like making a show on Google. Now, on Non-Pro's TV Party, we do a live Google Plus Hangout series where we geek out about our favorite television shows and invite you all to join along. We're not just recapping TV. We are in love with it. We are now discussing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 2 finale. It's over. Season 2 is done. We're done. I can't believe it. It's absolutely done. So, did you guys enjoy it?
I gotta be honest. S.H.I.E.L.D. went from, like, I liked S.H.I.E.L.D. and I enjoyed the show, overall in the first season. But I don't know if I'd have been as religious with it if we weren't doing our Hangouts. Season 2 has just been like my must-watch television of the week. Like, it's at points the thing I most look forward to. It was so good, all of it, including these last 3 episodes. So
Matt?
Oh, I will say that I'll admit that I'm the big S.H.I.E.L.D. fanboy of the Hangout. But even I was kind of concerned at the end of Season 1, are they able to keep the momentum in Season 2? And I'm happy to say that I feel like that they completed the landing in spades with the finale of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I'm so glad I was able to watch it, and that that there's going to be a 3rd season after this. I feel like it was completely fantastic.
I don't know how to put this. I enjoyed S.H.I.E.L.D. consistently. I overwhelmingly, most episodes I like, throughout. I have little nitpicking things here and there, a couple issues here and there, nothing serious. I've always kind of enjoyed the show, and because of my ridiculous day job, I've been watching a lot of genre TV, and I've noticed that this season, basically in comparison to other things out there, the writing is so good. And the plotting is so good, and the pacing, especially, is so good, even compared to other Marvel properties that may or may not have been in cinemas recently. Like, it's so good that I can't believe that more people aren't at least saying, hey, this is pretty good. I mean, well, I enjoy it, but actually, I think, James, what you're about to say?
I was going to say, the ratings for S.H.I.E.L.D. have been up. So there's a reason why it got renewed. It's not just because it's like, we need to have Marvel stuff on television. The ratings for S.H.I.E.L.D. have been on an upswing, like a huge upswing. So, which is nice in the age of obviously like Netflix and catch-upable TV. People have been catching up to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. now that it's been getting good. And if you haven't, if you're still one of those, tell me when S.H.I.E.L.D. gets good people, I've told you. I told you it's good.
Good for like a season plus.
Right. All right, so there's a lot to go over in these last 3 episodes. I guess the first thing to discuss, possibly one of the reasons why ratings went up the most, is S.H.I.E.L.D.'s tie-in with the big Marvel blockbuster film, Agents of... Nope, that's not what it's called. Avengers: Age of Ultron. That hit recently, and we had an episode that took place like immediately in the aftermath of that, and then obviously our finale wraps up with it. Pretty minimal, I would say, the tie-in.
Yeah, it wasn't like Season 1's tie-in with Winter Soldier, where this show completely got turned on its head with the reveal of Hydra. This one, like, you find out, like, Theta Protocol was the helicarrier that comes in at the end of the movie. And, yeah, that was pretty much it. There wasn't much to talk about.
They mentioned, they're like, listen, things are serious. S.H.I.E.L.D. is necessary. Metal men are falling from the sky, or robots, maybe Gonzalez called them, but Raina called them metal men falling from the skies in the previous episode. Minimal. I actually... Okay, this is maybe me being a fanboy, but I actually enjoyed that. I really liked how Season 1 S.H.I.E.L.D. and Winter Soldier tied in, like, a lot. The reveal of Hydra was a big deal. You had to watch them in the right order for it to get the maximum amount of effect. It was really cool. But we've talked about this recently. There's a lot. It's getting a little dense to follow all these Marvel Cinematic Universe pieces and put them all together. You could have totally just seen that movie and not had to see any S.H.I.E.L.D. And I feel like if you did see S.H.I.E.L.D., you didn't get any Easter eggs in the movie. You got no kind of pat in the back, no Joss Whedon going, "Hey, thanks for watching my brother's thing." But if you watched the movie, you kind of got a little bit of, yep, this is from the movie, and it was enough for me. This could be fanboyism that I'm liking it both ways.
So I'm not. This to me was kind of like the Thor: The Dark World tie-in, where it was like, oh, we're just cleaning up London. For the first 5 minutes of the episode, let's pick up the rubble in London. Look, I don't hate it. I think it's cool. I think it's neat that they're still doing these sorts of tie-ins. I liked what Winter Soldier did and S.H.I.E.L.D. did, because what happens in Winter Soldier became like the second half of the season plot for S.H.I.E.L.D. And I expect we're going to see that again with Civil War. I am most happy with the movie tie-in for S.H.I.E.L.D., though, is the 2018 release of Inhumans, because
Fingers
I don't
crossed.
know what you're going to do about seeing that movie if you haven't at least watched some of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's the movie tie-in that's winning me over, and that movie's not even written yet. So
yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's the most concerning for me. I don't know. I'm confused. I don't know what they're going to do yet. We were surprised to get season 3 of S.H.I.E.L.D. Suddenly it's a movie based on watching. I don't know, but it could be good. It hopefully will be. Would you, James, at least agree that it's probably untenable for them to do every tie-in movie to be of the caliber that Winter Soldier was? Like, I feel like this was a little like this is in between.
Absolutely.
Thor tie-in was like, we're cleaning up. Doesn't mean like we're cleaning up after the Robot Man. Who cares? But specifically like the helicarrier was like, oh, we were wondering how they got that.
Yeah, one of the level of tie-in I would love is just something you're not gonna do, because it requires the people watching to be us, and that's not fair of the viewing audience. Like like my mother-in-law just went to see Age of Ultron. And seeing Winter Soldier, hasn't watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right.
That's who they need to make these movies and TV shows for. I understand that I am obsessive.
Right. That's okay. Getting it occasionally is good. So every other season. Hopefully season 3 will have one. All right. So let's talk more about the show. I'm sorry, Matt?
I'm sorry. I was just going to say it'll make it all the more sweeter when it happens.
Exactly. All right. So a couple of the big things. Let's get right in there. Gonzalez, right? He was a character we were all worried about. Edward James Olmos portraying this character who is sort of a thorn in Coulson's side. And he is picked to represent S.H.I.E.L.D. and humanity when dealing with the Inhumans, which are, of course, represented by Skye's mom. That entire sequence, the whole time, I'm like, oh, God. Oh, man. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Matt, you had some feelings about this.
Throughout this episode, especially with that, at first I hated the episode. I thought, like, somehow they regress back to season 1 writing with like terrible decisions and poor thought out logistics, but watching what happened and going back and actually realizing it kind of actually made sense on why Gonzalez went in and why Coulson agreed to let Gonzalez go in. I feel like obviously, like Coulson said later in the episode, that like he had a personal stake in this, like with being like Skye's commanding officer and also kind of like a father figure, and so they needed somebody neutral. But also, I just kind of realized looking back, like since the time Coulson and Gonzalez has worked together, they've been able to come to agreement and work together. I mean, Gonzalez gave S.H.I.E.L.D. back to Coulson, pretty much. Or at least let him be in charge of the operation,
right?
In Humans, while Coulson was able, like, agreed to his, like, Gonzalez's plan to, like, okay, let's put this up to a vote and how we're gonna do this, and like was able to, like, okay, let's send in Gonzalez. So I feel like Gonzalez, like, he might have not agreed fully with Coulson's ideas. I think he probably still didn't trust in humans, but he was willing to play ball. So, I think that's honorable.
Yeah, I think. So here's the thing. I'm trying not to name names here, but I've noticed in other shows a big problem is like soap opera writing. In a way, it's things where like you want to get characters in tight situations, awkward situations, or making bad decisions so that you can heighten up the tension, right? And the scenes we're talking about all built up towards that, where you thought that Gonzalez was going to do something devastating. He had some sort of weapon in his pocket. Something weird was going to end up happening. Even when it's revealed that Gonzalez is actually like this good guy, he has the gift. He's legitimately trying to do the S.H.I.E.L.D. mission statement of reaching out and protecting everyone. Even in that situation, or later on when you see Simmons acting kind of shady, like she's going to kill all mutants, but in reality she kind of gets like things do ratchet back down. At that point, when it looked like Gonzalez was being framed for starting this war, the first thing I thought of, because of watching TV, was, of course, everyone in S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to believe it, and this is going to have like a 4-episode arc where people are believing in a lie, and they're misled, and it's going to cause more problems. But in reality, his team was like, that doesn't sound right at all. Why would he do this? Why would he go in there with a gun to shoot their leader? That seems ridiculous. And they immediately called it. Like, they are, I guess what I'm getting at is characters and their motivations are always paramount in the writing recently. That each character, when they're acting on their motivations, at best, at most, we're just not in the know of what their motivations are, or being slightly misled through filmmaking techniques, like Mac, for example. We don't know what side he is because we don't have all the information. But at no point do people just act stupid to get into a situation that's important. Like, in that, watch other shows, you don't necessarily see that.
When it's good, it's drama. When it's bad, it's melodrama.
Right. Yes. I mean, melodrama is a big part of it, and also it's just like you have to just accept it as rote that, oh, it makes sense. Yes, I would join this evil group of assassins for reasons. You know, like there's a lot of things that happen where you're like, why is this happening? What is your motivation here? Why would you do any of the things you're doing other than this is a comic book show and I should just relax?
Well, and I think one of the great things about motivation here is I think they go to a lot of lengths to give us the villain's motivation. So Jia Ying here comes out as the villain, particularly in the end of the first episode. And of course you're all like, whoa, wait a minute. She hasn't been all like, you know, crazy this whole time. But then if you start to think about it, you're like, well, I mean, Cal's pretty nuts, and she kind of stays with him. And I don't know, the way they were talking about Raina was weird, right? And then, you know, we learned later from Cal that, you know, she had been through all this stuff. Obviously, we remember, you know, what Whitehall did to her. And then you find out about her power, and I just, you know, like you when you're taking life from other people, you know, like that's just a thing that obviously would weigh heavily on you, you know? And like, you can't blame someone from being distrusting of, you know, like, I've been throughout this entire season distrusting of S.H.I.E.L.D. So, like, I as an audience member was so easily ready to relate to her, even though I like my cast of characters and the ones I obviously know I want to win. We had been, like, distrustful of a part of S.H.I.E.L.D. all season. You know, like, real S.H.I.E.L.D. And then Coulson and then real S.H.I.E.L.D., like, they were, in writing, throwing that mistrust around on purpose. So, like, you weren't necessarily, like, sure that she was immediately wrong. If she was wrong that she framed, you know, but wrong that she framed him and set this up, but maybe not that things could still go wrong if they ended up on the list. Or,
I think she's justified in her action. No, just like, it seems reasonable that a crazy person would think that, you know?
Yes.
Like, that's kind of
you
where
can understand her actions.
it's specific. Like they bother going into details describing, like, no, she feels all her pain. That's an important scene to throw in. These little scenes that I remember complaining in Age of Ultron, and a couple other things. Like there are little scenes you could throw into a story that establish an important arc you do later on, like putting in a scene where she's struggling in pain with a bullet wound, a self-inflicted bullet wound, is important because you realize, oh, all right, now let's remember Whitehall, how she was vivisected, and imagine what a person might go through after surviving something like that. And I think as far as characters are concerned, her actions are the least reasonable. Everybody else is super reasonable, and I think that could almost lead us to Cal. We should probably talk to Cal about Cal right now, although that might take another 40 minutes. Let's talk about Raina first.
Okay. She
has a full arc. It ends, we presume, at the end of this. Like that's it, and it's great. Matt, would you like to talk us a little bit about what our clairvoyant has become?
Well, it's really. It was actually, I was honestly completely shocked about like the end of her arc, because like since season 1 we've seen Reina be manipulative, kind of like lying to get like half lying, half truths, just so like to get what she wanted, and then when she becomes like she changed her goal of becoming inhuman, and then like she becomes a monster, but then she learns to. But then now she learns how to deal with it, and you find out that she can see the future, and like we see her, kind of like start becoming almost like a cult figure in the Inhumans camp, advising people about their future, and so we always say, okay, clearly the other foot's going to drop, and she's going to betray everybody or try to go for some kind of power play.
That's what I thought. At that point, I was like, all right, she's getting like. She went from I don't like my powers, I look like a monster, to now I'm a clairvoyant and I'm totally gonna milk this, like within an episode. And I was like, that's I know what's gonna happen next. What's gonna happen next is she's gonna try to take over, and it's gonna be awful. But we get totally different.
It was totally different. We get find out like her warnings about like how there is going to be fire from the sky, but like she was also right, like Xia Yang shouldn't be the one doing the negotiations. She was being completely truthful, like that, like the war was going to start because of Xia Yang, and also she was being completely truthful when, like, during her final talk with Sky, she talks about the thorn protecting the daisy, and how like she has her, and like how she finally has her purpose in life and like what she needs to do, and like in the last thing I ever expected, she self-sacrificed herself to make Sky see who Xia Yang really is.
Can we talk about that for a minute? First of all, just so that no one accuses us of being relentless fanboys, I actually didn't like the line too much about the thorn and the daisy, and I just felt like they were too much. But, you know, it was okay, and it certainly developed in a pretty awesome way, and everything on the surface of that looks amazing. You've got Reina, a character who's just trying to get control of her own life. She knew she was meant for something important, something special, and she found out what it was and finally accepted it. That was really cool that she had a full arc, including learning who she is and being okay with it. What I'm a little bit I'm not sure about how I feel about this is that she self-sacrificed. Do you think it would have been, I guess it depends on how her powers work. If she saw her end coming, she might as well have done something important with it, but do you think, would she have seen herself coming, she would have warned, like try to maybe manipulate this to her own advantage? I don't know. How did you feel about that scene? James, you answer first.
I love Reina. Like, Reina's been one of my favorite characters since the show started. I think Reina overall has always been very pragmatic. I don't think she's ever, if you think back to her relationship with Ward and Bill Paxton's character, because Bill Paxton, and you think back to how she kind of used and manipulated people in the past, it wasn't, I don't know, it never felt to me as if it's always been grandiose or out there. If Reina really was a clairvoyant, if really knew what was going on, and kind of knew how things were going to turn out, maybe she knew that her options for getting out of there were slim to none. I mean,
yeah, it's hard to say without knowing too much about how her powers actually work.
I
If she knew it was coming, then she acted to her best of her ability.
The out-of-box reason is I wish her luck on Preacher, which is currently filming right now. TV series over at Spike or whatever, Spike or FX, one of those.
She plays a pretty major character or somewhat important character.
Yeah, she'll be playing a big character. So.
Oh, okay.
One of them, I think she actually
playing Tulip.
Female lead. Tulip, that's right.
Tulip was one of the female leads in Preacher.
Oh, ironic. She
along with Howard Stark from the Marvel Universe. So.
I heard Howard Stern. I know you said Howard Stark.
Howard Stark.
But we're not going to deal with this.
Dominic.
All right, have we spoken our piece on Reyna, or do we want to do more?
That's the same. Like, my theory on how it worked was kind of like how Dr. Manhattan had his powers in Watchmen, where he was able to view the future, but he couldn't affect it because time is constant or whatever, something like that. That was my personal fan theory and how why she was able to accept her fate, because she knew she couldn't change it.
Oh, that is interesting.
Yep.
All right.
Also, if Reyna had left, maybe Reyna knew Skye had to see her die. What happens if she knew that if she'd left, or if she tried to manipulate that the tides wouldn't turn?
Yeah, Skye would have realized, Reyna's a lying manipulator as always, and
yeah, certainly. I mean, again, it's really hard to know without knowing what her powers can do. But I would like to see a couple of what-if episodes of her playing out different scenarios in her head or something, maybe. All right, so let's actually, I think this is pretty good to talk about Skye and her arc throughout, and then we'll go into some of our main characters. I think Skye is got an awesome arc. She really, I didn't loathe the character in the beginning of the season 1, but she was just the typical, I am a hacker genius for reasons. I'll just wiggle my fingers on the keyboard and do everything possible. Kind of seemed ridiculous that she would have moved up in the ranks in a secret spy organization so quickly. There was a lot of things that just didn't quite sit right, but gradually you see her learning things and doing right, and I just, something about how dealing with her family and figuring out who she really is, she really did earn the type of character she's become. She's the focal point character of the show, and I feel like that scene where Mac needs her to help in the final arc and needs her with her own abilities, her own flat-out her hacking abilities, was the best little bow tie to that she went full circle and kind of earned everything. It wasn't just magical power she has. It's also no, she learned all the stuff about S.H.I.E.L.D. She was an agent for a certain amount of time. She was able to hack into it even before she became an agent. I feel like the character has got a lot of legs under her, and I like that. I like the fact that the character is pretty strong.
I definitely agree. I never hated Skye either. I also was kind of a fan of hers in the beginning, but it was really satisfying to see her become, as Frank said, her own competent agent, but in her own right. But also, I just really loved her character arc this season. Just learning about her family, getting her powers, and just the way I feel like Chloe Bennett just sells the character and sells her emotions and sells her actions. Even though she is the most different out of everybody on the team now, having powers out, she still remains the most down to earth, kind of like the audience's character to view from. Just seeing her struggles, for an inhuman, she had very human conflicts and struggles that she went through, and I just loved how it just played out.
And we'll talk about this with other characters, but she had some of the best choreography. And the fighting scenes in Season 2 are just stellar. I think we'll talk about her in a minute when we talk about Bobby and Hunter. These are a fan favorite, well, a James favorite, right?
Yeah, I really like Bobby and Hunter. I guess for me, what I like about Bobby and Hunter is that they feel less. I don't know. I feel like they feel when Matt's talking about the viewpoint character. Bobby and Hunter feel like characters I can relate to. They're kind of like
much more normal. It's almost like especially Hunter.
Yeah, especially Hunter, but Bobby too. Like Bobby's more like, if you compare them to like the Avengers, Hawkeye and Black Widow, Bobby's more Black Widow,
I know.
More Hawkeye. But
that's good.
Point is, I feel like they're more normal, and I like that. It's weird that I think they're kind of messed up little love story, even though I think it waned on people at sometimes. Something about it, I think, grounded the show in a way. When there's so much stuff going on with Inhumans and this part of genre and that part of genre, it was nice to have something familiar to go back to, that like that these people were still struggling with normal problems,
As somebody who didn't like it.
Nope, go ahead.
As somebody who didn't like the beginning, I feel like it got better. A lot better. Like at first I was like, I don't know, this is like, it's ruining my pacing. There's this romance in the middle of this. It seems kind of weird. Like I don't really care too much about your divorce. But then I started caring more and more until like there was a major part of Bobby getting kidnapped and the attempt to save each other.
S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff added to that too. You know what I mean? Like having Bobby tied to new S.H.I.E.L.D. added like an importance to her character and their past relationship that kind of reframed it.
Right. I do feel like they might be on the edge of adding too many characters. I'm gonna say they should be careful of the number of characters they add. If they want to keep things normal, keep like a normal storyline in there because they don't have Ward anymore to be a normal romantic interest, then that's fine. Keep it with those people. Don't give Bobby or Hunter inhuman powers and then be like, oh, why do we do this?
Well,
yeah.
I was gonna say, interestingly enough, Bobby and Hunter were slated to have their own spin-off show at the end of the season, but they decided against it. They decided to they wanted to keep the cast together without spreading them out, spreading them apart, which I think was a good decision.
Solid
decision, because like especially seeing Bobby and Hunter at the end of the season finale, like seeing their storyline conclude.
Yeah.
For me personally, it really sold me on their inclusion in the cast. I just really loved their little B plot.
Yeah. Right. Speaking of their conclusion, I think my favorite part of that is, despite the fact that it's a rescue mission to save Bobby, Bobby still saves Hunter. That's my favorite part.
Yeah, and I feel like they both do like a fair job of saving each other. Like it's not like it's heavy-handed one way or another. No one becomes I think everyone appreciates that. As for Bobby and Hunter getting a spin-off or not getting a spin-off now, I think it's a good idea. You don't want to take the Ropers out of Three's Company too soon. Like everyone likes the Ropers on Three's Company, but maybe they can't pull. I don't care if anybody knows that reference or not. It doesn't matter. I don't care what it ages. What demographic it hits. All right, Ward and 33, the couple I really cared about this season. I was so sad for Ward and so confused as to my mental state. I think that is perhaps the most like complex relationship we've seen on the show. Honestly, at least a romantic relationship. You got the Fitz and Simmons that have kind of this awkward, geeky, will they, won't they?
Yeah.
You've got Ward and anybody else in season 1 was kind of like interesting. I think Ward and May was kind of the most interesting, but certainly not until it doesn't get really juicy until you get Ward and 33, where you're like, are they good for each other? Oh wait, they're terrible for each other. Oh wait, yeah, James puppeting.
It's just messed up. Like look at Ward's story all throughout, right? So Ward's manipulated and if we trust Ward, Ward is manipulated and abused by his family, right? He's torn down and then he leaves. He meets Garrett. Garrett takes him, strips him down to nothing, and then builds him back up into what he is now, or more or less what he is now. He strips himself down, builds him up to be this S.H.I.E.L.D. person. Then he gets cast out of that and has to go back to being this other person. So he picks up 33, someone who's been stripped down to nothing by Hydra. He's like, I'm going to build you up. But he does the same thing that Garrett does with him. He doesn't turn her into... He doesn't... like there was the fake out there where we thought he might be reintroducing her into S.H.I.E.L.D. Right? But no, he's just building her into the same manipulative psychopath that he is.
But he really does looks like he really does think he's helping.
Yeah, he legitimately feels like he helps.
Found a self-help program that works.
Doing that.
He found a self-help program that works for him. Kill the people you think messed you up.
Kill the people you think messed you up. Well, making other people into psychopaths. Yeah, great.
Right. No, I think just killing people that mess you up is his Tony Robbins book, is his secret. And then he's just showing other people, like, you could do this. You too can torture people until you feel better about yourself. It is so good. It's so terrible, and it was really the whole thing was beautiful. Well done.
Oh, I just gotta say that whole entire the payoff at the end where Ward kills 33. First off, wow, that was really ice cold of May, because she knew that was gonna she was going for that. But also just I was like, Frank, I really don't know how I feel about this, because on the one hand, Ward, you're an idiot. You deserve you did this. You caused all this. This is your desserts. But also it's the only person Ward has honestly cared about, probably since it's the dog that he shot. I'm also finally glad that they did confirm that he killed the dog, so that argument can finally go away.
They also talked about, she obviously knew about his life. There was some connection. They could have probably helped each other.
Yeah, if they weren't insane.
Here's an even worse thing. So Agent 33 is kind of right? Bobby did sort of just sell her out to Hydra because she was under deep cover.
Yeah, it was.
Hey, that's the house where there's some S.H.I.E.L.D. agents for us to capture, and they did, and they killed everyone but her, and then they brainwashed her. And brainwashing doesn't actually more or less exist in the real world, so it's hard for us to try to figure out how culpable is Agent 33. She was brainwashed into doing all the horrible things she did before Ward, and then brainwashed again by Ward.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt really terrible about 33. I mean, Ward is he kind of deserves everything he gets, but 33 I actually felt completely bad for.
Agreed.
Just that one scene where she's talking to her mother to get the picture that defined her true identity, and the fact the picture itself looks like someone that you find a missing persons photo, which I honestly think might have been deliberate, where it showed a happy Kara enjoying her life. And it's once you strip away all this brainwash and manipulation, deep down you had a girl that probably had a good life as agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
trying to do good,
and she got turned into this, and it was such a sad, bitter end for her. And so,
no one helped her, literally no one.
Yeah.
One person tried to, but he was a monster. And then other people, they did when she came in, they tried to help her, but then afterwards it was you know what? Yeah,
we don't trust you still.
Let's wipe this out. Wipe this up. When even, we'll talk about this in a bit, even Cal got a second shot. Oh, it's really bad. I really hope that May did not plan that, per se. But she probably did. Oh, that was
she totally did.
All right, so let's move on to something a little bit more cheery. Mac. I think Mac had kind of a weak first half of the season where he was I'm just the guy. He had some moments, especially him and Fitz.
Yeah.
Fun. But after that arc, it was pretty much he was the secret keeper. He's the most annoying character, the one who keeps having to keep secrets from other characters. And
sorry, I kidnapped you, Hunter.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
I did this, Fitz.
But this last 2 episodes alone, they built so much on Mac when his attempt to step out of this and him rising up to take charge in a way that really works for the character. I think awesome. Can't wait to see more from him.
100%.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And him as the caretaker for all the alien stuff, genius. I wish he was the guy who killed Gordon. I'll say that.
So that was such a good line.
Yeah, it was.
That was such a good.
All right, and since we're dealing with, you know what, we'll do it in that order. What are some? We promise we're going to talk about Cal at the very end of this podcast. But what are some of your and of course that teaser scene at the very end? Aside from those 2 things, let's quickly go around and do our favorite thing from the show. Anybody have one to go with right away? I mean, Matt, you were talking a lot about the choreography. You want to talk a little bit about that, maybe?
like season two's choreography has been absolutely fantastic, especially like during the fight scenes. I know they had the guy that was that did the choreography for a bunch of action films, like including like John Wick. He did a lot of the fights for season two, including the awesome single shot scene of Sky infiltrating the Hydra base.
Nice.
A couple episodes before. But yeah, honestly, I love the action and the fighting in this. Especially the Sky against the multiple woman fight was really cool. But honestly, my favorite fight was actually Bobby's escape attempt. That was I thought it was very cleverly well shot. While they like kind of like zipped in and out through like the abandoned the the walls and stuff as Ward and Bobby fought through the hallways.
Cool.
And just like how brutal they were able to make it, almost like an action film, really. It was close to an action film and very visceral, which I felt was very lacking in Avengers, which a lot of the times it was some really cool fight scenes happening, but it does look like somebody waving their arms and hands and legs in a green screen while they add in the effects later. But this, like the very practical shooting of the fight scenes, is something that I really do appreciate about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And so, like, I wouldn't mind if they keep all their big practical fight scenes to this show, because they really hit them this season.
They're Daredevil-esque.
And Daredevil as well.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, fight sequences. Okay, James, you got something?
I mean, for me, I think it's just Inhumans in general. You know, like, as much as I've been enjoying S.H.I.E.L.D., like, we're excited to see a show about powered people on television, and this second half of the season was just tons of powered people. This final battle, tons of people with powers. You had Gordon jumping around and
no explanation.
What's up?
Not a lot of like we don't need a full origin episode for multiple women or whatever. Multiple men.
No, we don't. You know, you had her. She was splitting into a bunch of people. You had Jia Ying. Cal to some extent wasn't really powered, but just lots of like supernatural sort of stuff happens in this universe, and it was okay. It could just be there and just keep happening. Like it wasn't. We didn't need. Yeah, we knew that. Like that's a power that we could see that an Inhuman could have.
Right. I think one of my favorite parts, and this is terrible, was the torture sequence with Bobby, because they really didn't pull any punches with that. It was hard to watch, and I like the fact that they feel that kind of freedom on the show. I also like the fact that they're successfully making me feel lots of different ways about lots of different characters. Like, I'm surprised that I could like Ward very much and then dislike Ward very much and then kind of accept his motivation even if I don't agree with it. Like, I'm all over the place with that, and that's amazing that they can do that on this TV show. And that torture sequence went from, like, Ward, is he like a rogue? Like, I almost forgot that he killed all those people over the last few episodes, and then suddenly this thing, and you're like, oh crap, messed up guy. That was really cool. All right, so let's discuss the I think all of our favorite part of this season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Sky's father, Cal, Mr. Hyde. So in the last few episodes, we get to actually see him, Kyle MacLachlan, mugging for the camera, like, so amazing. The sequences of him asking for water and saying he did it with style, like killing S.H.I.E.L.D. agents with style. It's just, like, everything he does as Cal, brilliant and fun and slightly campy. You don't usually see this from, I don't know why I'm going to say it this way, like American actors. Like, you get a lot of that in British television. You see that a lot in, like, people who are willing to have fun with the medium they're in, the fanciful media, like just really just chewing up the scenery and enjoying it. Kyle MacLachlan can pull that off. Like, you see that in Twin Peaks. You see that in his performance here, definitely. Wonderful job playing manic, crazed person. And also, like, not justifiable, but, like, again, the writing does a wonderful job of twisting your expectations, where suddenly Sky's mother seems less than genuine and honest and trustworthy, and Sky's father, which we've been saying all season long, it's like you kind of understand where he's coming from. It just blew me away. Matt or James?
You took the words out of my mouth. Cal was. I've said it in a lot of posts on the fan club. I said it in the article that I wrote on for Non-Pro, but I will straight out say it on YouTube now that Cal is bar none the best Marvel Cinematic Universe villain ever.
Ooh,
better than Red Skull, better than Loki, better than anybody else. I don't think we've ever seen anybody with as much intricacy. Someone that you could actually honestly feel sympathetic or understanding of, and also someone with just a very I keep on saying this word a lot, but that's really the name of the day for this finale. A bittersweet but satisfying conclusion.
That
just
ending.
Everything fell together for the writing for that character and the acting, and I honestly want whoever wrote his character, whoever was in charge of his character, to be in charge of writing every single MCU villain from here on out, because he is the bar now. I will say he is the bar to reach.
Nice. James, do you have anything to add to that?
I'm not going to say he's the bar to reach on MCU villains, because I think he's clearly so much not a villain.
Oh.
Just by the end of it, it's clearly Cal, is there to save his daughter and to say goodbye to his wife, and he brings so much humanity to the story in a way that in a strange gravitas that I didn't think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. could do. Not because I don't think it's a good show or anything, but just and it's partially Kyle MacLachlan, just partially just the way it was written. It just it was heartbreaking, to see him have to kill his wife, to lament to Coulson how, I remember when she used to beg, every person, every elder not to give her life so that she could live on, being manipulated, loving his daughter, him and Coulson finding a way to connect on that. There was so much depth in there.
And humor. Him telling Coulson that he could call her
humor.
Daisy. When he said, "You don't call her that," he's like, "But wait." That was. Were you saying that we were supposed to say? It was just such a subtle. It was really good. Oh man, the one thing I didn't like about Cal. I'm not the fanboy here. At least that's what I think. I didn't like the effects of his transformation. I love the fact that he got it. I love the fact that he got to earn the whole, no, Mr. Hyde gets potions, has chemicals, and transforms. And, it's pretty good for the whole Jekyll Hyde, the classic story, but for the comic book character, I don't know, the transformation looked very I've got a weird head prosthesis, and I'm looming a little bit more. I would have loved to have spent some of that effects budget on making him seem a little bit more intimidating and less kind of ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's true.
Just kind of looking at a big forehead. I wasn't 100% sure what was different about him. I'm like, that's Kyle MacLachlan, but I think his forehead's a little bigger.
Yeah, bigger forehead, weird teeth prosthetics that made him kind of odd.
He kind of yeah.
He was stronger. They showed him that stronger, but it's just
stronger. I don't know. Personally, I thought there was a little charm to it. The very much old style movie monster effects, the lumbering gorilla run. I thought that it was a callback to the old the actual monster movies of Jekyll and Hyde. So I think I give it much more pass than it probably deserves, just because mostly because MacLachlan completely sells it with his manicness, and so it just seemed to fit, even though it didn't really look good, really.
All right, so let's. I want one more thing about Cal and Sky, or Cal and Daisy. Well, first of all, it's kind of upsetting. It was very upsetting to see him having to kill his wife, or feeling like he had to do it as the only way of saving his daughter. That was one awful climax for him. the second awful climax, and bittersweet is good, was finding Tahiti brought back up as a way of solving the problem. This man whose memories and loss is what drives him to be such a monster. It was brilliant. I did not see it coming. I thought it was wonderfully done.
Oh my God! When they showed it, I was like, okay, they're having like some kind of like witness protection program, and like they're just like playing for the crowd or whatever. It's like, okay, yeah, they don't know each other, quote unquote. But then you find out he actually was Tahiti'd, and like I just felt the stomach twisting and turning inside of me while I tried to parse what happened and whether or not it was the right decision. It was. It's twisting again now just thinking about it, because like I'm like it's like the internal debate of like whether or not it was the right decision. Oh, so bad yet so good.
And one last thing, I said that a couple of times, but fathers and daughters and are like, even just parents and children, and how they're dealt with, specifically long lost, possibly evil parents in genre fiction based on comic books on TV. Let's say there are other shows that are currently in production whom I enjoy that also deal with that kind of character. Let's say a daughter who finds out that her father is still around and is possibly evil, and the source of all the horrible things that have happened to her in her past, and finds out that she has to work with him because reasons. And in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you get this wonderful arc for 2 seasons where you get a character who doesn't know you exist, and then they get to know each other. Then there's that hatred, then there's that forced intimacy, then there's the realization that there's something different going on in the background. Beautiful character piece, bittersweet, wonderful. And then there are other things where it just feels like, again, you've got your soap opera writing, where you just feel like characters are with each other because.
Look, I'm just going to sum it up for you, Frank. At least your father is John Barrowman. And that's all you got.
You don't understand. John, was this a Doctor Who plot too?
No, I was making a reference to the other show you might have been referencing.
All right. But yeah, like, I mean, I'm serious. There's like, you could look at every crazy thing Cal does, every desperate thing that Skye does. You look at it all, you're like, all right, I see why you wouldn't want to be near each other. All right, I see why you feel bad for him. Like, everything that happens, you get motivation for. It's the writing is on par. All right.
On point.
On point, yes. So, a couple of things we have left to discuss is where we think our heroes are going now. We talked a little bit about Mac. I think he's in a perfect place. Coulson, despite a handicap, I'm curious as to how they're going to fix that. That might be fun. Any clever ideas?
Robotic arm.
Ultron arm.
Ultron arm. All right, good. Let's. God.
He made this evil sentient arm for you.
Hunter and Bobby, I hope they work on it. I guess that'll be fun. I like to see them as a regular relationship. May goes on vacation with sexy underwear and a gun.
Well, I think May's big deal is I don't really think we kind of left May. She hadn't really forgiven Coulson yet. I mean, if you really think about it, they never patched it up. They never really talked about it.
They never did. Yeah, they really didn't have the time to.
They didn't really resolve. Too much stuff happened. I would like them to pick that back up. I don't want it to be like, everything's in the good now. I think they have some issues to work out. I don't want it to be like the focus, but I think it's something we could pick up with in the first couple episodes of the next season.
Mm-hmm. I think, let's see, we got Fitz and Simmons. How about that for? Actually, you know what? Suck up on Fitz and Simmons. We're gonna leave that off. Let's talk about Ward as Master of Hydra, probably.
I'm excited for this. I think Ward is season 3A plot. Because so I have this theory. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is basically split into each 2 half seasons are really written as one cohesive story. So like, Meet the Team, Winter Soldier plot. We had the Hydra plot for this year, and then we had the Inhumans plot. So season 1A or 3A is going to be Ward. I would like, as much as I like having Grant Ward around on the show, if he's going to be the new head of Hydra, I'd like him to be like a balls to the wall, full head of Hydra, like evil, but take him out. End of 3A, take him out. I like having Ward around, I do, but I don't want to flirt with this for the next, if Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. keeps going, I don't want to flirt with Ward being B-plot for the next 6 seasons. I don't.
Yeah.
That's way too far along the game for me to decide. Like, if you had asked me at the beginning of the season what I think will happen with Reyna, I would not have had a clue. With her eyes opening up from like an ashy statue, but it's an interesting theory, but I'm okay with just waiting and finding out. I would love to see Ward being the first character from the series to transition into the films. I think we need some good villains in the MCU movie universe, and who's better than a character we've seen arc up into villainy? It might be a little confusing for cinematic audiences who haven't seen S.H.I.E.L.D., but, I mean, who were any of the Hydra heads since the first Captain America movie?
They're all dead. Like, we've seen them all, like, get talked about or seen dead. So, yeah,
introduces in a cutscene at the end of one movie and then die in the beginning of the next.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I think it would make sense. Like, they say, oh, we have this new head of Hydra now, and then bam, Ward. I just hope that if they go that direction, they don't go in where they went with, Strucker and all of them, where they just kill him off screen.
Right.
Like, I want him to actually have meaningful impact, because I know the character in Brett Dalton would be like an invaluable asset to the film as a villain.
Yeah. All right, well, I guess that's everything. We've talked about every single possible character relationship we can discuss. We'll be back after these messages. So I found out people did not stick around and had no idea. Like, people commented. We have an article that Matt curated on the website of animated GIFs from the finale, and we have a clip of the scene where the almost date happens between Fitz and Simmons, and then that strange object that the humans love-hate swallows them. Swallows Simmons. And someone's like, what happened? I didn't see that. That is... I want to kill everybody in Hollywood for that. That was horrible.
I think Katie had fallen asleep during the last half an hour, and she woke up just as the logo disappeared from after that scene, and she looked at me and she's like, and I'm like, and she's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I can't tell you.
Nice.
I'm like, I can't even talk about it. I need to go sort out my feelings.
I especially love the build-up for that scene where, like, Simmons is trying to say something to Fitz. It doesn't seem like soap opera writing, again, where it's like she's trying to say something but we don't know what it is. Is it romantic? Like, it just seems like she's like got all these emotions bottled up because people are going potentially to die, and she wants to deal with something, and Fitz is like, now you want to deal with it? And it's like, that's perfect. Those are two humans interacting with each other on screen. And then it culminates with, Fitz awkwardly asking her out, and it really culminates with a giant rock blob monster. Damn it!
Oh,
so angry! September cannot come soon enough.
I'll be honest, I had to laugh at that scene because, well, there were no more tears, and also, like, it was absolutely incredible, like, how they had the pure cojones to just do that, and bravo, and screw you.
Yep. So, all right, we're wrapping up our show. Any ideas of where the season's going next? We've heard a lot of people saying Secret Warriors.
Yeah, I mean, the file, Coulson Hand Sky, is Project Caterpillar, which in the comics was the code name for the Secret Warriors project. So they said they're going to take it slowly at a time, so I don't think it's going to be an immediate thing. It'll probably be an overarching thing throughout the entire season 3. But I'm excited to see it.
Yep.
Part A, Secret Warriors v. Ward Hydra. Part B, Secret Warriors being a problem because Civil War.
Interesting.
That's my my theory.
That sounds good.
All right. I hope you all enjoy this this last episode of our Google Plus Hangout series TV party. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoyed it, and even if you didn't.
Yep, and we'll be back for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 3 and for Peggy Carter Season 2.
That's right, and maybe other shows as well. If you have a show that you want us to talk about, leave it as a comment. Actually, we may even be doing something in a week or two about some other major television events involving comic books that were teased at during this program, if you're a total nerd. But thank you all for joining us. Have a wonderful night, and subscribe, like, and do the thing. Bye!
Bye!